Hello, I am artist and art teacher Kevin Hogan, and I'm going to show you what Impressionism is in 3 minutes or less. I'm going to use this particular image on the front of this book because it's just handy for me to utilize, and just take a look at it for a second. Impressionism was a movement that began in the 1860s by artists that were in Paris and around Paris, and it was a reaction to what was called realism, a very heavy movement that was going on quite a bit throughout Europe during the 1800s. There are three major tenets of Impressionism that you need to know about. First and foremost, ordinary subjects were the things that most interested people that were making Impressionist art. For example, here we have people that are very normal, ordinary people. These are not famous people. These are not people that were changing the world with any kind of major movement that they were doing. They were not political. They were not famous in any way. These are just very normal people in society. A lot of Impressionist paintings also show things like trees and landscapes and waterways. They were very interested in what was normal and ordinary. And that was a reaction to what was a growing movement in Europe at that time to just show all kinds of famous people and famous scenes throughout history. They wanted to react against that, and so they made very, very simple art that was able to address what was happening in the world around them and not in the larger sense of the world. The second thing that you should know about is they loved light. The way that light hits objects was a major thing that they were focused on. If you look at this particular work here, you can see that there is some shade back in here, and it's nice and bright right here where the light hits. The light is hitting fairly naturally right here to this woman. It gets darker as it moves backwards in the painting. They wanted to show how light hits objects. A lot of the time they will do that with their natural landscapes too, where they showed how light was peering through the trees, peering through leaves. They would even show how leaves could glisten in the air with light showing through them transparently. Very cool stuff. The last thing that you should know is it comes off as blurred and unblended, meaning the painters usually were using paint that they just kind of put on the canvas without making sure that it was smoothly together, which was the traditional style. It was okay to show brush marks. Actually, this is a better side over here. Most of this back here in the background is very unblended. It's just a bunch of lines that they are making with different colors. But it comes across quite well. It does look like a nice grassy background. And there's a lot of unblended colors here in her jacket. It shows how light hits, but it wasn't blended together very well because he wanted it to look almost like a memory in the artist's mind. Now you know a little bit more about Impressionism, and it was done in 3 minutes or less.